So this is the new Zwift Hub Interactive Smart Bike Trainer, and this trainer is going to change the game when it comes to indoor cycling. Now, the new Zwift Hub isn't necessarily revolutionary from a feature or spec standpoint, but there are some things about it that are certainly going to change the landscape of the indoor cycling industry, and I guess I'll come right out and tell you the number one thing that makes this trainer so different. It's $499 for an interactive, smart, direct drive bike trainer. For comparison, the closest competitors would be something like an Elite Suito or a Wahoo Kicker Core that range anywhere from like $700 to $900, depending if they're on sale. Now, for just $500 for a trainer like this, you probably have many questions like, is this just a bare bones trainer that doesn't even come with a power adapter or something like that? Do I have to buy 5 years of Zwift to get that price? And does it only work with Zwift? And the answer to all those questions is no. This trainer comes with a solid list of specs for the money, and it even comes with a cassette, and you can use it with Zwift, of course, but you can also use it with any other cycling training platform that you like. So let's first start out with the specs. So the new Zwift Hub can provide up to 1800 watts of resistance, which is more than enough for almost all of us. It can stimulate up to a 16% grade, and then they claim a power accuracy of plus or minus 2.5%. And there's certainly trainers out there that have better accuracy than 2.5%, like going all the way down to 1%, but 2.5% in the whole scheme of things is perfectly fine. Plus, there are some trainers out there that may claim better accuracy that don't necessarily deliver. And then from a connectivity standpoint, this has both Bluetooth FTMS as well as ANT plus FEC, which basically means that you can connect it to any indoor cycling training software on lots of different kinds of hardware like an iPad, Apple TV, or laptop. And this obviously works with Zwift, of course, but again, this works with any other software that supports these connections, which is basically all of them. And then in addition to that, the hub also can act as a bridge for ANT Plus and Bluetooth accessories. So where this can come into play is, let's say you have an older heart rate monitor that only supports ANT Plus. Well, what you can do is hook that up to the hub via the Zwift companion app and then transmit your heart rate data to Zwift. And this can also be useful if you have an Apple TV, which only has 2 concurrent Bluetooth connections. Now, this trainer may look familiar. It's largely based on the Jet Black Volt smart bike trainer, and Zwift partnered with them to bring you the hub. Jet Black is actually producing the trainer, but Zwift wanted to make sure that they weren't just slapping their name on a trainer and calling it done. Zwift actually brought in their own team to test it, logging over 10,000 miles and over 500 hours just so far. And as a result of those tests, they decided to make a few tweaks to the Volt. And we'll get to those tweaks in just one second, but I want to take a step back really quick and explain why Zwift chose to partner with Jet Black. So at one point, Zwift did have plans to produce a full-on interactive smart bike, and a lot of that was due to the huge increase in popularity of indoor cycling during the pandemic when all of us were cooped up inside. The problem is, during that time period, many people bought a high-end smart bike trainer or high-end smart bike, so the demand for that type of product has really diminished. However, Zwift noticed in the last few years that there's been a huge increase in new subscribers that are more on the recreational side of things, or people that are just getting into indoor cycling, so that's why they decided to switch directions completely and go this route, and to be honest with you, it makes a lot of sense. Now, being that they've designed the hub for someone who may just be getting into indoor cycling, a lot of what Zwift has done with the hub to customize it from the Jet Black Volt surrounds the setup process, where there are some quite clever things they've come up with here. So it first starts off with the ordering process. So as of launch, you'll only be able to order the hub on Zwift.com, and they have no immediate plans to sell it anywhere else at the moment. But when you go to order, you'll be able to choose between an 8, 9, 10, 11, or even 12-speed cassette, not just an 11-speed cassette like a lot of other trainers come with. And then they go ahead and pre-install that for you, so basically you don't need any special tools when the hub arrives at your door. But from there, they've also made the setup process kind of crazy simple. So you do have to install the legs, but what they've done here is color code each leg so you know exactly where to install each one. Pretty smart. But here's the super clever part of the setup. So there's enough axle configurations out there where it definitely can be confusing to figure out which one you may need for your bike. So what they've done here is make these little adapter cards for both quick release as well as through axle configurations. And what you do is just simply align these with the dropouts on your bike, and they have these lines that basically correlate and tell you exactly which adapters you may need. And for me, this was one of those, dang, that is really brilliant. So kudos to whoever came up with that. And then from there, you just install the adapters, toss your bike on there, power it up, and you can pair it up with Zwift. And since this is a Zwift product, you can pair it with a companion app where you can check for firmware updates as well as pair a heart rate monitor to the hub if you'd like. And then, of course, there's tons of support content out there that's available in case you have more questions or need help along the way. And then other than the changes that they made for the setup process, Zwift also made a few tweaks on the hardware front. So they are really aiming for this trainer to be crazy simple to set up and also as universally compatible as possible so it can accommodate as many bikes as possible. So what they did is they tweaked this top portion of the trainer, which allows more clearance for different kinds of bikes with different types of brakes. And so far, they've tested over 500 frames from over 70 different manufacturers, ranging in size from 45 centimeters all the way up to 64 centimeters. And they literally had somebody full-time just testing out the compatibility of these frames. And for those those of you who just looked up the price of a jet black Volt, well, to put it lightly, there's a drastic difference. Well, my explanation is that there can be a difference in the price of a hardware company selling a piece of hardware versus a software company selling a piece of hardware that complements their software. And obviously jet black is in a good place because they've got this Zwift thing going. Now, I have only had a limited amount of time to ride it when I visited Zwift, and what I can tell you so far is that it seems to ride great. It's virtually silent, it's quite stable, and it looks to be a very well-made product. My review unit isn't here quite yet, so I can't comment on things like power accuracy as well as like erg mode feel, but it should be here soon and before it goes on sale on October 3rd. So make sure to subscribe to get a notification when my full in-depth review on the hub comes out. And you also may want to stay tuned for a lot more new Zwift content this season. So there's going to be new worlds, there's going to be new levels, and there's a feature that I'm particularly excited about. So it's going to be like a personalized holographic replay, or almost like a personalized pace partner where you'll be able to race your past PRs. And it's going to either be one of those like best thing for our legs or worst things. Either way, probably going to hurt. Anyhow, if you found the information in this video useful, do me a favor, just quickly hit that like button down below and also subscribe to the channel for lots more sports tech videos that are right around the corner. In the meantime, happy riding, and we will see you in the next video. That's a Zwift bottle, that's a Strava bottle. Can you tell the difference?